welcome back. This is Kirsten from JK Fiber Arts. Today I am going to show you how I scour alpaca and get a beautiful, silky, clean result with the most efficient labor. This is the first day in forever. It really is a glorious, glorious day. It hasn't been 98% humidity and 95 plus degrees. I'm going to enjoy this 82 with 45% humidity and get some of this alpaca taken care of. The very first thing is this is my utilitarian everything screen here. I use it for drying, I use it for picking. My husband built me this and I love it. This is the alpaca blanket cut that I am going to be processing today. This is Twister. He is lovely. And I have been working on this already, so this is maybe I've done a third of it. But I'm just going to show you how I start with this. Here is, there's a nice gentle breeze today too, which might mess us up a little bit. But you can, hopefully, I'm on frame, let me see. Yeah. You can see here, he has some lovely, lovely crimp, lovely long staple length there. I mean, that's gorgeous, very dense, soft fiber. And I've already processed a bunch of this, and I know that this is gorgeous. He is white. He's a white alpaca, and that is part of what I want to show you, because he probably does not look white here. Alpacas do not have lanolin. They like to take dirt baths. There is a dirt kind of stickiness to them. Your hands will feel, I don't know if it's dirt or there's some sort of oil in it, but it's not lanolin. It's not sticky like lanolin. Water temperature for washing alpaca is not critical. You're not trying to melt lanolin. We're just trying to get away dirt. I do think, though, warm water is a good idea. It does help to dissolve some of the gunk. I usually have hot tap water, and I will show you how I start. Mostly my starting place is shaking everything that I'm going to do in that sitting. What I'm going to do is just pick a chunk to start with here that I think I can pick in the amount of time that I feel like sitting here doing this. I've got a couple hours on my hands, so I'll start with just a little chunk here. And I'm just going to pull this out and maybe a bigger chunk so you can appreciate all the dirt that's going to go flying here. So the first part is to just shake it, and this is what I do here. And I don't know if you can appreciate this, but there's all kinds of dust just flying out of here. And this is how I start. You just pat it, shake it. You can't get enough shaking, really. I also have a lingerie bag that I use. Right now it's totally full of other fiber. I have 3 of them and they're all totally full. You can just put it in a lingerie bag, one of those big ones, and just shake it and hit it like this. That will work as well. I'm just doing my hands right now. Hopefully my breeze isn't going to get more than this gentle breeze, and Twister's not going to blow away off my wall here. The next thing I'm going to do is I just start opening this up and shaking it over the screen, and there's just going to be dust aplenty flying out of here and some vegetable matter. Actually, I grabbed a fairly decent section here. There doesn't seem to be a ton of vegetable matter in this one. And I've noticed that about this fleece. Some of it is like absolutely clean, and other bits are a little dirtier than others. This looks really good. And I just spread this around, and then the other thing here is I'm looking at the tips. The tips are the sunny upside, the side that sees the sun, and those are usually going to be browner. If you can see, here's the line, here's the stuff that was on next to the skin, and here, dirt line, is where the sunny side up tips are. If there's a lot of dirt, you can open the tips later, but I would open them before I soak it with this one. And I just go through and shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, pick up all the dirt. See these like chunks like that are just flying out. The screen will catch it, and then the stuff that the screen doesn't catch, I just pick out with my hand. And I have a camp chair there that I'll sit down because I'm not going to stay hunched over like this the whole time. This is just for you guys. And then I'm going to just pick out any large bits of vegetable matter, any really dirty tips that I see. I'll just give them a very gentle opening here. And you can do a little bit more gentle opening in the water right before you push it under too. But this looks really, actually this looks amazing. I was hoping to have a dirtier one to show you. I'll take another handful here and we'll see what we can find. Because this makes it look way too easy. Alpaca is actually very easy to process. So what I'm going to do is just add a bit more here of this alpaca that I had sort of shook out earlier. This one is a lot dirtier than this one, so I'm actually going to kind of separate them so that they don't get together. And then here is a big lump of this other side. And this one does have a lot more dirt and vegetable matter in it, and I've already shaken this out several times, so. What I like to do is I have a big trash bag over here that I'm going to put the stuff that I pick in, and then this is for trash. Some of the fiber in the yard is fine. I think the birds use it. I have a little video where some bunny lined its little bunny house with it. However, my husband was not a fan because I put a whole bunch of it in the yard, didn't think it was a big deal, and it got caught in the lawnmower blades and really made it unpleasant for him. So I'm not doing that anymore. I'm putting most of it in this bag. All right, so with this, you're just gonna shake it, shake it, shake it. Now all that stuff is gonna fall through. Here you can see, like, here's a second cut right here, that little nub, and that's trash. I'm looking for any guard hairs. Let's see if we find any guard hairs. This has already been skirted, so ideally there shouldn't be much in the way of guard hairs here. Since this one is a lot dirtier, what I'll do is just take a small handful, and again, I'm gonna push the stuff that I'm not working on away, because this is gonna have dirt fall right down onto the screen in front of me here, and I'm just gonna separate it out. And for what I'm doing, I'm gonna make some of this comb top, and some of this I'm gonna put through the drum carder, and I'll show you the difference in the preps. The lock don't need to stay aligned or anything for this. You know, there's no spitting from the lock or anything like that. I don't care what order they're in. Ah, there's a big hunk of guard hair right there. So this is guard hair. Guard hair looks like coarse. It looks more like a human hair type. It's very coarse. It does not have any of that crimp like this. If you see all the crimp in this, and look at this. This just looks like hair off a dog maybe or something. There's really no crimp to it. It's that stuff that protects them from the weather. We don't want that. That is coarse, and you know, it's called guard hair for a reason. It's guarding all this good stuff underneath. And I'm just picking out these little bits. The more little bits I pick out ahead of time, the less is going to be there after I scour and when I comb. I mean, I wouldn't spend my life doing this, but I probably am somewhat meticulous here doing that. And anytime I have a section that I like that's clean, I put it in the clean bag. And once I have this all cleaned enough to my satisfaction, I will show you how I scour it. I am ready to scour my alpaca. So this is my setup. I already introduced you to my drying box here, my screen box. I use the spin dryer, and I have a cooler. I used to use 5-gallon buckets, and I would haul them back and forth, and can I just say that was horrible. I think it was 85 pounds, and I would carry a bucket in each hand and just farmer carry them out, soak rinse and repeat, and it took me forever, and it was a lot of heavy lifting. So I have really improved my setup. Instead of using a 5-gallon bucket, I now use a 48 quart, which I believe is a 15-gallon cooler. And the only downside to this cooler, this was very inexpensive on Amazon, is it doesn't have the spout at the bottom, which might be a little easier, but it works fine for me. Now, my 5-gallon bucket, I put the stuff that I've picked in, and that's the Alpaca we're going to use. I have a hose that I run from my work sink upstairs, and this is a special hose. It is a construction hose that's rated for hot water. Regular hoses will not take hot water from the tap. And then I have this nice little stopcock here, and I just fill it up, and it goes the whole way up to my work sink, which is up in the laundry room way up there. But it works, and it is way better than me having to do all this lifting. So I'm just going to fill up my cooler. The secret to scouring alpaca is a lot of water. You want to have a very high water to alpaca volume ratio, not weight ratio. So typically like 4-to-1 water to alpaca fiber by volume. I use Unicorn Power Scour, which is this stuff right here, which I'm sure pretty much everybody's heard of. For alpaca, you can use other stuff. It's not critical for alpaca, but I scour other things, so I just use Power Scour. I buy it by the gallon, and then I just fill my little portable bottle here. So I'm going to fill this up, and the Power Scour is a tablespoon per 2 gallons. I just eyeball it. Again, for, that's probably 1, 2, and a little bit. For alpaca, again, not super critical. And I fill this as close to the top as I can get. I keep the hose in the bottom so it's not bubbling up too much. I don't want to make a lot of suds. I'm going to put the fiber in. I want to be able to see the fiber, so I'm just trying not to make a lot of bubbles. It's not supposed to be like a bubble bath. I know from experience that my tap water is 120 degrees. I have measured it. I also know that the cooler does a very nice job of keeping the temperature even. So when I put it in, I'll just close the lid and let it sit for about 25 minutes. I wear gloves for this part. Even though it's tap water 120 degrees, it is still very hot. And this just takes just enough of the hot away. So all I do is I just take my fleece, and I'm just going to very gently let it sink down here. And I'm not stirring it, making sure that everything gets under there. I'm gonna stop there, and I'll just do this other, what's left in here separate. I'll just do that next. So it doesn't take very long, it takes 40 minutes total. So I'm going to, I like this, everything is underneath here. If you have any of those tips, I open most of mine ahead of time, but you can open them up because there's a lot of little debris that can be stuck in there. You can see already how dirty the water's getting, and that's been like, 30 seconds. So I'm going to just close this up, and we'll be back to check it. It's been probably 22 minutes by the time I set the camera back up. And you can see how dirty this water is. I just kind of grab very gently and bring this out. I just very lightly pancake this, and I put it into the bucket. And again, if you have a tray, I have a cat tray that I use for smaller testing things when I'm scouring, and it works really well. It doesn't fit in my cooler. I wish it did. I'm gonna try to find a tray so I can just lift this out, like a slotted tray. I think that would be awesome. This is why I wear the gloves, because it's pretty hot if you don't have gloves on. And again, the importance is water and not stirring this and keeping the water temperature consistent. Just a little bit. If you change the temperature dramatically, especially if it gets colder, that's when you felt things. And felting is no fun. If you ever tried to spin something that's felted, it is not enjoyable. Okay. Now there's still going to be a little bit of fiber in the bottom of this, but now I can dump this out without losing a lot of it. So you can see now how dirty this is. Let me see if I can pour and film at the same time. So I took it off my little stand. So you can see really down into the bottom here. You can see all that dirt. But I'm gonna dump this out, and then we'll fill it with fresh, clean water, no soap, and we'll add the fiber back in to rinse it. Here you can already see, how much cleaner that is already. It's very, very white. Now there's still a little bit of vegetable matter in here. Don't worry about that. Some of that's gonna come out in rinsing. Some of it's gonna come out in the spinning process when I spin dry it, and then the rest will fall out when I comb it. Where I want it. Again, lots and lots and lots of water. Can't go wrong with too much water. You can never have too much water when it comes to scouring alpaca. Again, this is hot water. Well, I thought it was recording, it wasn't, but I refilled this and I put the fiber in very gently and pushed it down, and you can see that it is so much cleaner already than it was. Let me take you in for a closer look here. So it is so much whiter now. It's already vastly different. It's been, 20-ish minutes. And here we are. It is nice and clean. So I am just going to very gently pull this out. Try to get as much as I can, but I won't get it all in one go. The nice thing about the clean rinse is I can now see the alpaca in there. Before it was so dirty, it was hard to tell what I had. And all I'm doing is just sort of pancaking this between my palms. It does not have to be that wrung out if you're going to use the spinner, because the spinner is amazing. It's a game changer. Let me just tell you, the spin dryer, that is the next step, and it is my favorite. It is nothing short of miraculous. And you can see that even that still had a little bit of dirt in it. So don't worry, we're going to squeeze that last little bit out. Next step, this is my laundry spinner. If you have a top load washer, you can do the same thing, but I don't, and this is wonderful. It's lightweight, it's portable. My fiber doesn't get dirt and muck and gunk in my actual clothing washer. It's very quiet, it's super lightweight, and the water just drains out the bottom here, and you just open the lid, and we throw the stuff in, and away we go. This is the alpaca that has been rinsed, and all I'm doing is just dropping it in here. I do try to distribute it a little bit evenly here. I'm gonna have a balanced load. A little bit heavier of a load than I usually put in. I'm also on a little bit of a slope here. Usually it finds the center pretty rapidly. There we go. So the water's done draining out. I turn this off, and inside is magic. It looks like silk. Look at this. That is the magic of the spin dryer. I'm going to put this on the drying screen. This is, it's so beautiful. Look at this fluffy goodness. I'm gonna spread this out. When it comes out of the spin dryer, it's practically dry. This is gonna be dry in less than an hour. And then once it's dry, I'll just shake it, and all of that vegetable matter is gonna a lot of it's gonna fall out. I do have another screen that I'll put over top of this if it's a windy day, so that it doesn't blow, but today it's not bad. There you go. The difference between unwashed and washed. And a lot of times people say you don't have to wash alpaca, but no, I could not disagree with that more. Here it is, 40 minutes later. This is totally dry. I had a little minor catastrophe. I was kind of fluffing it and getting some of the loose vegetable matter out, which will happen. You know, it's dry. I start just separating it and shaking it a little bit around the screen and separating it. This bizarro gust of wind, like a swirl, picked up half of my fiber and swirled it up into the air and dropped it down on the cement right there. And I was chasing it around. It was pretty comical. I'm only a little bit sad I didn't catch it on video. So now I have my screen on top of it, so no more problems. But what I'm going to do, and then I went and retrieved my laundry bag because I'm not going to take any more chances. And I'm just going to put this into my laundry bag, shake it out in the bag so nothing blows away. Here's that last bit that was in the bottom of the bucket. My stuff, put it in the laundry bag. This will be dry in probably 20 minutes. It's not gonna take long at all. And then we will head inside and I will show you the difference between carding and combing. Next time, we will comb and card this alpaca fiber, and you can see the difference in those preps. If you found any of this helpful, please like and subscribe. Until next time, scour happy.